Most people hate filing taxes. I especially hate filing taxes because my perfectionism rears its ugly head when it comes to claiming any type of deduction. I don't dare claim anything on my return unless I have the documentation for it, which means tons of paper and little receipts. You know how there's such a negative social stigma with compulsive hoarding? So much so that we're afraid to admit it to anyone and we wear sunglasses when filming videos about it. Well, if the IRS said, if you admit you have compulsive hoarding, we won't audit you because we know you have all your receipts and documentation somewhere. I bet then people, including those who don't even have compulsive hoarding, would say they have the disorder. Anyway, for 2016, the tax filing deadline is Monday, April 18th instead of the usual 15th because Washington, D.C. celebrated Emancipation Day on the 15th. So procrastinators get 3 extra days this year. The local news always does a segment on the tax deadline date to show all the procrastinators at the post office. The post office near the airport used to be open 24 hours, and they'd have an employee outside by one of those big canvas carts, so all of us procrastinators could do a drive-by. I remember more than once trekking 10 miles down there after 11 p.m. to toss my returns into the cart. I also remember digging through piles of receipts and financial statements as the tax deadline approached, trying to make sense of all these pieces of paper from the prior year. Thankfully, I don't go through that exercise so much these days because I began keeping track of my deductions on a computer spreadsheet. The categories for my deductions didn't change much from year to year, so I created a spreadsheet with a worksheet for each expense, like medical expenses, auto expenses, property taxes, etc. And I've been pretty good about making it a habit to input those expenses fairly soon after I incur them. After I input the expense, I put a check mark on the receipt, scan it, and then put the receipt with my recycling. For example, this week I checked my schedule for any due dates that I wrote in at the start of the year. I covered that in the third video, preparing for the new year. Hi, kitty cat. For this week, I had property taxes and car insurance premiums due. Ouch. Plus, I had dental cleaning. More ouch, expensive week. All those figures are already in my spreadsheet. So March of next year, I won't be working backwards like I used to, going through my checkbook register and credit card statements, trying to figure out which charges were for what. This has saved me so much stress. There are still some figures I need to pull from the statements and then get the totals together for the accountant, but these days I'm way more sane come springtime than I used to be. Years ago, whenever someone asked me to go out and do something in March or April, my response was always, I can't, I have to do my taxes, because I was full on scrambling to make the deadline. Now, I won't lie, it's taken me a good number of years to get to this point, but I improve a little bit each year. By the time I'm 80, tax time will be a breeze for me. What's really helpful after creating the first spreadsheet is now I just have to do a save as for each subsequent year, and I use that copy for inputting my current year's figures. An extra benefit of that is when I'm inputting my figures for, say, 2016, I see what was originally input for 2015. This has come in handy because if I forgot to input something that's usually an annual expense, seeing that entry from the previous year jogs my memory and I can go retrieve that missing information. If you're rushing to file your taxes in a panic right now, first of all, what are you doing watching YouTube videos? You probably can't make a spreadsheet right now for this year, but maybe think about one for the future. It has changed my tax filing experience for the better. If you're not one for computer spreadsheets, you can do something old school and as simple as a notebook or binder and a shoebox. Make a page for each category of your usual deductions. After you drop off a bag of tax-deductible donations, which I know you're going to do as you declutter, write in the date, recipient, and amount of your donation on that page. Mark your receipt with a check mark so you know you've already recorded it. Then toss the receipt into the shoebox. Don't worry about grouping your receipts in the shoebox by category because your notebook entries are already listed by category. When it comes time to file taxes, just add up the totals for each category page. The basic idea is to put all your tax information in one location so you don't have to go on a scavenger hunt later. And by logging your deductions throughout the year, you avoid facing an overwhelming tidal wave all at once. Like any new habit, it'll take a while to become consistent, but you can do it. I know you can. And it'll pay off whether you get a refund or not, because you won't be so stressed out. That alone is worth it.